it's certainly been a very interesting conversation, and I think that we've talked a lot about trust and leadership, and there's been some questions about that attitude coming from the top. So I'd ask both of you for your feedback on the implications of when violations of the code, as was mentioned. In fact, Mr. Dion, you mentioned, there's been 3 Trudeau reports. It's not 1, it's not 2, but it's 3. So the implications that Canadians seem to see a Prime Minister continually, or in this case, at least on 3 occasions, violate the conflict of interest code or be subject to a pretty serious investigative process. The challenges that leads to Canadians to be able to trust when it seems like there's no consequences. Mr. Dion, I'll start with you, and then I'd like your feedback as well from Commissioner Finkelstein. Hopefully I said that correctly.
I would point out that there are no immediate consequences. There could very well be consequences of another nature, basically. So that's why the reports, we investigate, we come to a conclusion, we send the report to the Prime Minister, and we publish immediately after, so that the public can see for himself the report, what the findings were, what happened, and so on and so forth. So then another process can take place. And it does in the House of Commons or in the media and so on and so forth. It's out of our court. The minute the Commissioner tables a report, it's over. The Commissioner, for what it's worth, has come to a conclusion, as is required to do under the Act, and then it's up to other people to pick it up from there. That's good.
Thank you. Anything to add, Commissioner?
I think you're looking at it slightly from the wrong perspective. The whole system is set up on the basis of reputation. You have a reputation, you want to preserve, etc. If you do something that is against the code and there's a report, it is damaging to your reputation, no question about it. It will be made public, and it's there. You'd have to take the consequences. The voter has to take the consequences, whether he loses confidence in you, in your government, or whatever. Our job is just to make sure that people do abide by the code, and when there is a violation or failure, so it is made public so that the political process can take the consequences. It's not for us to do it, to take the consequences.
So I appreciate that, and here's why I appreciate that feedback, because it gets passed to Parliament. But when you have, for example, a governing party that seems to continually allow those within their leadership to be flagrantly disregard ethics, or in the case of now Speaker Fergus, have been found to have violated the code and then get a seemingly pretty big promotion with a chauffeured driver and a residence. So I'm curious, and a question to both of you. How do we reconcile this when it seems like those that are making the decisions, the naming and shaming, it seems to not be enough to actually help restore some of the trust that's been broken with Canadians when it comes to the ethics rules in this country? Mr. Dion, I'll start with you.
I think my colleague has answered clearly. Affects the reputation. It follows you forever on Google. And I would point out, although it's not my role, that Mr. Fergus was elected. He was not promoted by the Prime Minister. So.
Yeah. Well, it certainly elected, and it's funny that some of these conversations didn't happen. So I guess the question is, maybe a change in government would help bring about an adjustment in that attitude and help restore trust in Canadians. Commissioner Finkelstein, just to clarify, you did mention in your opening statement that exemptions being granted to people subject to the Act, working between governments. Now, is that different government departments within the federal government? Is that different governments, provincial, municipal? Is that foreign? Can you just outline that a little bit?
I mean, if this right now the situation was, for instance, let's say you worked for the Department of Transport and you're an associate deputy minister, you leave and you want to work for the Department of Agriculture as a consultant or a Crown Corporation, etc. You have a 2-year cooling off period, 1 year depending on your rank, and you have to come to me and ask, can I shorten that? Is this I don't see why. I don't see where the conflict is. I don't see where the ethical problem is. It's you. Whatever knowledge you have is government knowledge. You take it from one end of the government to the other. Go ahead, do it. I don't want to see it.